Hey everybody, it's your pal Drew Dracy with some more comics from my spinner rack. And specifically, comics I just bought that will find a home in my spinner rack. Got this at Dave's Comics in Fayetteville, Georgia for $2. Look at that condition. New Teen Titans by Marv Wolfman and George Perez was just an amazing book. It really turned DC's fortunes around for a time until Crisis on Infinite Earths, which really boosted them back up. And by issue 33, it was just a flawless comic. It's the first year. It took a while to find the voices of the new characters, also the voices of the established characters, dealing, along with the new characters. Just how they all related to each other. This cover's so great. And what I love is the reflection. You won't see any black shading areas. You'll just see holding line, and that's just perfect for reflection on water. Really cool stuff. Who Killed Triton? And it's usual team of Wolfman and Perez and Tangel. I never knew how to say his name, but Aqualad shows up with this guy. Triton. And it's sort of a mystery of an episode. Wonder Girl says, I don't picture him looking like that. He seemed so soft when we fought. Soft? Forget it, Wonder Girl. He's solid muscles. So it's a bit of a whodunit, a little bit of a mystery here. You got the pool inside Titan's towers, but it got a hologram to simulate being out at the beach. And what's interesting is all the faces and the movements of the bodies are distinct characters and not just the same old. I love that costume. Love it. So Cyborg and Changeling fight first, and then separately, this is a great panel because you see Starfire, and then at the bottom of the panel you get the information of the house that she's headed to, her destination. And Raven and Wonder Girl are fighting Trident. They also fought him, and they all got different impressions. So anyway, about this ad, this was in every issue of a DC comic that came out that month. And why? Ta-da! Ronin, baby. Ronin by Frank Miller. Written, drawn, inked, everything. And I liked it. My best friend Deerwood turned me on to it. And we were big Miller fans. This was just so out there. People who see it now, the year 2025, you might say, this seems kind of like this, or it seems kind of like that. No. This guy, Frank Miller, he kind of reinvented himself. And it's just a great story. The only thing that really bothered us was the issues came out very sporadically. Like the first two issues came out pretty close to each other. Then the third was a little longer. Then the fourth. And then fifth and sixth, I think between 5 and 6 was like a year. So you had that, and just like Camelot 3000 took a year for the final issue to come out. But you know what? I like it a lot, and I have to reread it sometime. So I like all these panels here. Some people don't take advantage of these kind of panels. I mean, there's a lot going on, but it's perfect framing for what's going on. Basically, infiltration of this criminal's stronghold. So, and Tara she's a member on in training. So her and Flash also fought Trident. Now I'm gonna save the mystery till later. So, all right, Manhunter by the husband-wife team of John Ostrander and Kim Yale. Very sadly, she died pretty young, and Ostrander still, he stayed a writer in comics, but I can't imagine how terrible that was. And Ostrander had a lot to do with the popularity of Suicide Squad, because he wrote the 1988 version that lasted about 6 years or so, maybe 5, I don't know. So I was intrigued by this. I picked this up. I'd never picked up this version of Manhunter before. And the art is just amazing. It's Doug Rice, inked by Pablo Marcos, which is interesting, and edits by Barbara Kiesel, a close personal friend of mine. So, Doug Rice, the last thing I'd seen prior was a book called Dynamo Joe. It was sort of a manga inspired robot character, but it didn't last long at all. This is about 1985, and the manga, anime, and back then they called it Japanimation also, just wasn't big in the States. So I think if Dynamo Joe came out today, it would probably do pretty well. It was just ahead of its time. Because the only guys who, only fans who got the anime that were on the West Coast. There was a lot of in California. I love that costume for Manhunter. That is amazing. There's Sam Ham, the writer. So, really nice stuff here. I love that helmet. My only disappointment was like halfway through the book, the story ends, and we get another story written solely by Kim Yale, illustrated by Sam Keith. And this is early Sam Keith. He was also doing Epicurus the Sage with Bill Willingham, I think, for some indie publisher. I can't remember what it was. And shortly thereafter, he did this great Hulk fill-in issue with the Grey Hulk versus Mr. Hyde. I really recommend that. He has his art reminds me of the children's book Where the Wild Things Are. It's that plus a bit of Bernie Wrightson. And then there's just stuff that's just his. So, man, look at that fisheye lens. Really, really great stuff. So creepy. Anyway, good stuff, good stuff. Now, on to Alpha Flight, which I found this 100 issue, and I'm like, wow, okay, why not? Because the book lasted 130 issues, which is kind of funny because you would never think that, because nobody talks about it. There's really no like footnotes that say, see Alpha Flight number 87. It was sort of under the radar, but it lasted a long time. So this cover by Tom Morgan is pretty cool. He's gone on to become an amazing artist. He does these things on Facebook. These just little doodles of classic Marvel characters in so many different styles. He could do Ramita, he could do Gene Colan, and it's kind of like a little brain tickle to see his stuff. That's Vindicator, which is James Madison. And James Madison? I don't know. Mech something. McDougal? Something, I don't know. Norm MacDonald is who he is. But I don't like the swapping out the red and the white. It looks better the other way. And she became Vindicator. He was Guardian. She had avenged her husband's death, and now he's back as a semi-cyborg. It's not made clear. So, the Avengers. I love the Avengers. By the way, there is an omnibus coming out. Galactus. There's an omnibus coming out of a bunch of Alpha Flight issues right before this that were done by Jim Lee. So it's Alpha Flight by Jim Lee Omnibus, which I think has been solicited. Solicited? Yeah. Yeah, I talk really well. So we find out how he came back to life. It's a little odd. It's really hard to explain. And they said they found his body, but he was reduced to nothingness in issue 12. He was just a cinder. And now they act like they found him, and I don't get it. So, I love that. Bam, 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 back, back, back. And North Star doing the old sewing machine thing there. Back, 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 back. So, this is a fun issue. It's not great, but it is fun. Just for basic superhero type stuff. I kind of dug it. And I don't know, like I said, there's actually 5 artists on this book, and I haven't looked them all up, and I know one of them was Tom Morgan. And the others I don't really recall. So, neat stuff, neat stuff. And we got Deathlok, 1991 actually. And what's funny about this is when Deathlok first appeared, Rich Buckler was a creator, had it in Astonishing Tales about 1974. It was one of those, excuse me, I'm just catching my breath. My stupid sinuses make it tricky to breathe sometimes. So, anyway, the book was never a big seller, but Rich Buckler, who created the character, he did a lot of stuff on the Fantastic Four and filling in on other books that they kind of let him do this passion project. So what happened is the story, the original story came out in 1974. It was supposed to take place in the faraway year of 1990. So brilliantly, Marvel remembered that, and they came out with 1991 because, like Voices in, they decided, okay, we'll make that happen. Although the post-apocalyptic future, it was not, the same. But I love the art here. It's got some John Romita Jr. vibes on that flying debris. It's not really. It's basically trying to download his cyborg half. So we get one of those wandering in the Matrix. But this is 1990, way before the Matrix. Way before a lot of other books were doing this kind of stuff. And I love the limited color palette. That's really good for this kind of situation. So just really amazing stuff. Dwayne McDuffie created this version of Deathlok, and Dennis Cohen did. Anyway, this creature is like a spin-off robot of Doctor Doom. It's very, very, it's very detailed, and there's no point. I could spend like a half hour on it. But I dig it. I love those faces. That's so wild. I mean, you had a Warlock from the robotic Warlock from the New Mutants and X-Men, which was pretty cool, but this is just a fresh take on that sort of thing. You got Machine Man, you got Cold Blood, who is a character co-created by Paul Galassi, and I don't know if it was Doug Bench or what. Here comes the X-Men. So, really good book. I'm going to start picking up this series because I'm sure once I do, they'll make a collection of it, and I'll piss my money away. And then, last but not least, is Hercules, Hero Song and Story. Marvel Premiere. I love that book. There were so many different ideas that came out. And there's a Kirby cover, one of his earliest ones for Marvel. He was just leaving DC and got through his cover. Bill Mantlo wrote this, and the team of George Tuska and Vinnie Coletta do it. And, all the things that Coletta did that were wrong with Kirby and others, he really, really meshed well with George Tuska, because George Tuska didn't throw a lot of details in the background. So, at the risk of being rude, it's like there were no backgrounds for Coletta to erase. And they made a great team. I followed them. Look at the plume of smoke there. Wow. Really strong stuff. And the two of them, Tuska and Coletta, they did the Champions, they did Iron Man, they did Black Goliath, they did the Avengers. They were sort of like the go-to guys. Oh, Luke Cage Power Man, too. I mean, they were like the fill-in guys. And I always dug it. In fact, sometimes it would make me buy a book I wouldn't normally buy, which is, I like the effect, a little bit of a dry brush with white paint right there under the H. I love that effect. So here comes somebody from the past. It's Typhon. Is that how you say it? Typhon, yeah. And he's with some lady friend. They both want revenge on Zeus and the Avengers, and first Hercules. He got sent to hell. So, his axe is fused to his hand. It's a curse. Sorry, everybody. I'm all thumbs today. So you got some fun work here. And the reason that Tuska was so good at drawing like slugfests and stuff like that, Tuska was actually a weightlifter before it became a thing. Like, we're talking like the 50s and the 60s. So the only other people I know who did that, I think, were John Buscema and I don't know who else, but it just wasn't a common thing. So that's cool stuff. The agent for the upcoming Champions book, clocks her in the back because she's casting a spell on Hercules. Bam, 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 bam. All of a sudden I'm like a 7-year-old all over again. Love that splash. I love it. Really cool. They get underwater, he flies in the air. Really good stuff. Real sharp. And Bill Mantlow's scripting is really good. I've always liked his scripting. So he's like, that's gonna. The axe will stick to me until the blood of my enemy, my worst enemy, bleeds. Though hell doth make itself already known to this Titan, in this axe which shall ever remain a part of my flesh. But his scratch bleeds on it. He's like, I'm free, but you prophesied. I did rightly. Thou art thy own worst enemy. I love that twist. I like that a lot. So it's like, your own worst enemy. Yep. Anyway, that's Hercules and Deathlok and Alpha Flight and Manhunter and the new Teen Titans. So anyway, I hope I turned you on to some of these titles. They're inexpensive and they're excellent. So that's all. I hope you have a great day, everybody. Bye.